because as someone so kindly put it in a previous run, the runner must suffer. So we're going to get ready for the next run here, which is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on Game Boy Color. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be back. Actually, we're going to switch over to that here now. So here we go, guys.
All right, how's it going, everybody? My name is Conception 2. I'm going to be running Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone here. This is going to be the Game Boy Color version, which is a lot different than most other Harry Potter games that you might see out there. This is actually a turn-based RPG as opposed to a action platformer, which is pretty standard with the series here. So we're going to be breaking the game wide open with a series of glitches and things like that, and going to be having a good time with it. So we're going to be breaking the game wide open with a series of glitches and things like that, and going to be having a good time with it. And 3, 2, 1, go. All right. And 3, 2. So we start off. Go. All right. So we start off already in Diagon Alley here. So we're just gonna pick up our wand. This is, in fact, Ollivander. He does look like a garden gnome, but this is actually him. Basically, we're just doing our little wand test as kind of per the movie in the book. Some interesting facts. This is a video game based off mainly the book and not so much the movie. So it doesn't use like any of the movie character lookalikes or anything like that, and it does include some things that aren't in the movie. Some of those things we do skip over. As the nature of the speedrun, but just a couple interesting things. What we're going to have happen now is we're going to be selecting a deck of cards to use for our card combos with our Witches and Wizards cards. We do have to choose a specific one in this green deck here. It's going to be very important for the run. And we're going to get a series of cards here. We did actually find some brand new tech and a brand new glitch in this past week that has made this run approximately 40 seconds or so faster. So we're going to be, I'll be explaining that as it comes along, but it's going to be pretty soon into the run. Not exactly right now, but pretty soon. The beginning parts of this run are actually part of the worst parts, just because it's a little bit finicky. We have to set up a glitch in a very specific way. I'm actually going to save here for safety. Alright, we hit an encounter there, that's fine. We're going to be heading up to our first boss, which is in the basement of Gringotts here. For whatever reason, whenever you hit your first encounter of the game, sometimes it likes to duplicate it and put one in the exact same spot, which is what happened there. Which is no problem. We're just going to wait and take our time. We're wanting to hit pretty much no encounters just to be safe. We do not want to take any damage here if we can avoid it. Alright, and you'll see me pressing select sometimes to kind of buffer where the spawns are going to be. Occasionally, a lot of times at later points in the run, when you do that, they actually completely change location, which is really helpful when you're trying not to hit encounters at all. But in this dungeon, it doesn't do that so well. This is our first boss of the game. I affectionately refer to him as Chuck, as in Chuck E. Cheese, kind of what he looks like. So what we're gonna do, we save there because we can't die here. It's very important for a glitch setup that we succeed here without dying. So if we die, we just have to do a quick reset. And it is very likely to die here, unfortunately. So we just do a reset there. Luckily, we got the safety save. And importantly as well, we do have to have a victory, and we do have to have 0 encounters after that. For a glitch setup. So this is probably the most contentious point of the run. It's what causes a lot of resets in PB and world record attempts. So we're just gonna take out the smaller mobs first in hopes that we get a couple misses like that. Hey, that's pretty good. We're gonna use our potion. heal up a little bit, and we're hoping to get at least one more miss as we try to take down this larger rat chuck here. And then, like I said, the very important part will be not hitting an encounter afterwards, so we're going to be playing things really carefully. Alright, he is defeated. Alright, good. We can sometimes get sniped with encounters right away right there, so that's good that we didn't. This is Harry's vault. Dude is loaded, absolutely loaded. Alright, so we're going to head out here, and like I said, very, very crucial that we do not hit an encounter, or else we're going to have to reset and fight that fight again. And then do all this again. That's why you see me pausing here. I'm waiting for the encounters to actually pop up before I start moving. That way I have a better idea of where they're going to be. And you're also going to see me hug top walls like this a lot. Actually, entirely shrinks our hitbox to almost be unhittable. Which is really handy when we're trying to avoid encounters. Harry's hitbox is absolutely massive. It's his entire body, including his hair, including all these little things that are sticking up. So it's very important that we shrink our hitbox as much as we can when we're running this game. But luckily we got out of there. Minimal damage, only the one reset, so not too terrible. Alright, we're gonna walk under here. We walk under that building to avoid talking to that person above who wants to give us a little tutorial on picking up cards, but we don't need that. I've played this game once or twice before. Basically, all that's going to happen here as well is that we have a shopping list that we need to get for our school supplies. It's going to be the only time we shop in the game now. We used to have one other shopping segment in the game where we would buy as many chocolate frogs as we could so that we could get as many cards as we could for card combos. But as I mentioned, we did find a new glitch this week that enables us to basically duplicate cards infinitely without having to buy a whole bunch. So we're actually going to go in the sweet shop here, pick up that hidden card which we need for a combo. We're going to buy one chocolate frog here, go in our inventory, down to the chocolate frogs, and we're going to hold left and A and just mash. And basically that allows us to use the cards infinitely. Every A press besides the first one is going to give us plus 255 cards. So I did that probably like 10 times. I got a boatload of cards right now. Alright, and then we're going to go over to the last shop we need, which is our clothing shop. As mentioned, this is an RPG. It does have like an equipment system where you can equip things that give you bonuses to stats and things like that. We actually don't need that in the run at all. We only equipped one piece of clothing, which we only need so we can pick up a plant and complete a class without having to do an encounter. Otherwise, we wouldn't equip anything at all, and you'll see why very shortly. Alright, and talk to Haggard here. He's going to get us ready for the train, give us Hedwig. Classic Harry stuff. Alright, and then we're going to make our way up to the train here. Now this is where the most important glitch of the run is getting started. It actually started with that rat boss fight that I was telling you about. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause here. We're going to go down to our card combos, which are only meant to be used in battle, by the way, but the game is broken and lets us use it outside of battle. That duplicates our last fight. And you see the screen just went black out of nowhere for a second. That is a result of the glitch that I'm activating. We have to talk to that person several times and then activate the glitch here. And then we talk to this person at the window and then this person sitting on the bench for 4 times. It actually skips an encounter with Malfoy that's on the train, as well as setting us up for the glitch coming up here. So we're getting ready to cross the lake into Hogwarts for the first time. And we're actually going to be hitting we're likely going to be hitting an encounter anyway, but we're going to be looking to hit an encounter on purpose here. And we're looking for that encounter to be a purple frog with a glitched enemy at the top, based off of the interactions with the NPCs that we just did. And when we defeat that frog, it has some very interesting effects. But we're actually getting pretty good RNG here for not hitting an encounter. We still have to cross the lake when it happens. Oh, we actually got another enemy here, but that's okay. I have a safety save for that. Basically, what happens is we'll fight a purple frog there. When we defeat that purple frog, it skyrockets our level from level 2 to level 99. Alright? So, based on that, I actually had a safety save in case that glitch fails, which does happen sometimes. So, the experience that's given from that frog gets us from level 2 to level 90, actually, originally. And then we duplicate the fight using that folio glitch that I used on the train to get even more experience, which gets us to level 99, our level cap. So, we're inside 10 minutes of the run, we've already hit our level cap. This game is very, very broken. You'll see me pausing there as well, kind of like before. When we pause and unpause, we're able to skip encounters. And, well, not necessarily skip encounters, we're able to reset the location of where encounters are. I'm actually going to pause here, and equipped our gloves, like I mentioned, and then we're going to head up to the castle. Nothing really too crazy about this. We're just hugging top walls again as much as we can to avoid getting hit by encounters. Getting hit by encounters here doesn't ruin anything like it would have before. It's just slow. Every encounter you hit adds about between 6 and 7 seconds or so. And we're trying to go fast here. Alright, now we're going to be encountering our second boss here, which is the Knight. You're going to notice our HP and magic are crazy through the roof, and that this boss isn't going to be particularly challenging. That's all. Alright, enter Hogwarts. This is actually kind of a lengthy cutscene where we kind of talk through what is going on with the sorting and what happens. You know, classic Harry Potter stuff, gotta explain the lore. While this cutscene is happening, I just wanted to say thank you for having this run at Game Over Cancer. Cancer research and anything that goes towards that or has to do with that is very personal to me. I did have my mother has gone through cancer treatment twice, so anything that I can do to help benefit that is obviously incredible, and I couldn't be more thankful for Streiser and the Game Over Cancer crew for having me on here and being able to have me support such a great cause. So thank you guys so much. So we have our sorting. Weirdly enough, only 3 people get sorted, which are Hermione, Harry, who is second, and then we'll see Ron come down later. I guess nobody else is important enough. The only movement we have to do here is find Gryffindor's table, which is luckily consistent every time. We have some stuff that we have to do every run that is not consistent every time, and is RNG, which you'll see coming up a little bit later. Still on a longerish, one of the longest cutscenes in the game is here, so. Alright, now we get to regain movement. Basically, we're on a quest to find the Gryffindor common room, which I have played the game once or twice before, so I luckily know where it is. But we're going to make a couple detours on the way. When we wake up, we're gonna go to sleep in the Gryffindor comm room, and when we wake up, we're gonna be going through our class load. So we go through every class once, basically. And one of those classes is herbology, and we're just gonna do some setup for herbology to make us a little bit more successful. That's a very bad location for one of those, but that's okay. Oh, that's even worse. Oh, we still went by. We're gonna do some setup for herbology, where we're going to be grabbing some herbs a little early. Herbology is going to have us basically pick a series of herbs and then come back to the teacher when we have them picked. We're just going to grab quite a few of those early to make that class go by a little bit faster. And you're seeing here we're just utilizing cutscenes. We went from the ground floor to the first floor to second floor. Now we're on the 5th floor, walking up to the 6th floor, and then finally the top floor, the 7th floor. Gonna make another detour here. Yeah. Unfortunately, got hit with that encounter. Not much we could do about that. And another again. This game, I like to affectionately refer to it as likes to snipe you. You can be as cautious as you want, but quite often the game will just put an encounter basically on you or in front of you to the point that you can't avoid it. When you let go of movement, there is usually a couple tiles of movement otherwise that Harry will keep moving despite the fact that you've let go of your movement. So you can't really avoid it. You're just going to hit a counter sometimes, which makes the run kind of RNG based in terms of recording and things like that. So we do get up to Gryffindor Tower, but the portrait lets us know that, hey, you don't have the password, so I'm not letting you in. Classic stuff. Just another mini side fetch quest that we have to do. Nearly Headless Nick has the password. Nearly Headless Nick also has a problem keeping his head on his shoulders, obviously. So we're going to grab a tie for him to help with that, and then he will give us the password as thanks. So the tie is on the bottom floor. Unfortunately, the tie will not spawn until after you talk to the portrait. So you have to go all the way to the top, talk to the portrait, and then come all the way back down, get the tie, and walk all the way back to the top. Kind of an annoying fetch quest, but not much we can do about it. Alright, so Nearly Headless Nick is actually on the 6th floor. I'm notorious for forgetting to talk to him and going right up to Gryffindor Tower at least once per stream. So I'm glad I didn't forget it, because that would have been embarrassing. And then we head back up to Gryffindor Tower here. You're also going to be seeing us do a lot of diagonal movement. Diagonal movement is the fastest way to move. It covers a bit more ground in the same amount of time as moving in straight lines. So as often as we can, we're going to be moving diagonally. And it looks ridiculous. It looks like he's kind of like moonwalking to the side, but that's what we got. Alright. So basically we're going to go to sleep, and then we're going to start our class schedule tomorrow. Alright, first class we're going to do is potions, which is all the way in the dungeon. We actually were just in the dungeon when we were going all the way down to the ground floor to get the tie for Nearly Headless Nick. Another positive reaction that has come from this new infinite card glitch that we found is that since we have a lot more cards now, it has enabled us to use more card combos that are useful. So we're actually on our way down to potions. Brand new to the route, we're actually going to go into the card club down here on the 5th floor, and we're going to talk to this individual who's going to give us a couple card combos, but only one of use to us, which is called Reign of Bludgers. And that is a card combo that we're going to use during battle. That's kind of like an AoE spell of sorts. It attacks all enemies that are on the field. And there's quite a few fights in this game where we have to fight 3 enemies or multiple enemies that it'll be useful for, and it saves us a lot of time as opposed to fighting those individually. But we might see that soon coming up here, but for now we've got to head to the potions classroom. Now I want you to notice, that everybody is sitting down at the tables, right? There's only one person that's standing, which is Neville, right there at the cauldron. Keep in mind, this is day 1 of class. For whatever reason, either Neville took it upon himself or Snape made him. He's making a potion without instruction, and of course, it blows up in his face. Now our potions class has become, we have to save Neville. So we're going to get some ingredients for a potion to help save Neville. Luckily, 2 out of 3 of the ingredients are going to be in Snape's office adjacent to the classroom. We're going to head up here. I'm actually going to wait, and it's too low, for an encounter to spawn, but it was a little bit too far away. So we grab this Boomslang skin from the snake poster. We're going to wait for an encounter to spawn here. Unfortunately, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for snakes. So we need Boomslang skin, snake fangs, and beetle eyes. The reason why we're looking for snakes is so we can get their fangs. I'm going to defeat the snake, and it's kind of random if they drop them or not. Luckily, this one did. If they don't drop them, we can actually duplicate that fight using the card combos until we get snake fangs as a reward. So that's a useful thing. Again, now that we have multiple cards, way more cards than we normally would have, we can duplicate more fights if need be. But luckily, we got it on the first try. So, well, second try. The last ingredient, which is the beetle eyes, is down in Hagrid's hut here. He's just talking to us about where to get ingredients, despite us already having 2 out of 3 of them. And he also tells us that he just sprayed his garden for beetles. So luckily, we're going to grab some beetle eyes. These are in the same spot every time, which is good. We do have to grab 2, despite each item saying it's beetle eyes. So theoretically, we grabbed 4 beetle eyes, even though we need 2. It's a little complicated, so we're not entirely sure, but there we are. So we got all of our ingredients for potions. We're going to head back and save Neville's life. You'll notice too, that's a good reminder, that the corners in this game, their hitboxes are ridiculous. You can actually just get stuck on a corner, not entirely, but like you're moving forward, you're moving left, it's just not letting you buy the corner. It's just ridiculous, so you kind of have to take a wide berth sometimes just in order to hit, avoid corners rather. Also, you notice Neville standing up, apparently he's fine. But regardless, we got our potions done. That is the first class done. We're going to head to our second class, which is going to be flying, which is outside on the grounds here. Again, on the way, we're going to pick up another herb that we get outside just to make herbology go by even faster. And you're going to see some movement here. Notice how my feet are not moving. When you walk by an item and continue to move as you select it, you will continue to move, obviously, but for whatever reason, it takes away your foot walking animation. We like to call that swag Harry, or glitched movement. Doesn't really do anything besides look cool. Alright, so here we are for flying. Poor Neville and his awful day. He's getting some bad luck. He's already been poisoned half to death. Now he falls and breaks his wrist. Neville's just terrible, terrible day. But he drops a shiny Remember All. Draco's going to grab it because he's a jerk, and then this is going to be the first of a couple auto-scrollers here, but luckily it's not too long. I know we dread auto-scrollers in the speedrun community, but it's not too bad. We have to chase him down, and it is a little more active for an auto-scroller. You can really screw up here. So, unfortunately, sometimes bushes are just going to be in your way, and you can't really do much about it. As we try to chase down Draco here, we're getting really unfortunate luck here. We're getting large bushes that are hard to dodge as we're chasing them down here. But there we go. Not the worst flying I've ever done. So that's it for flying. That's all we got to do. Also, unfortunately, if you're a fan of Quidditch, this run does not feature Quidditch whatsoever. Sorry about that. But we do get a couple flying segments, just not Quidditch-based ones. Alright, next class is going to be Herbology, and again, right before we go into the greenhouse for Herbology, we are going to pick up one more plant. make it easier. And that actually, with that picking up that plant, we have every plant we need besides one for herbology. Actually, that's not true. We have every plant we need as we grab one as entering the greenhouse. We have every plant we need besides one. But the last plant, which is the mandrake root, does not spawn until after you start the class, so you do have to start the class first, then go get the root, and then come back. The mandrake root is one of two reasons why we need to have gloves on. We cannot pick the mandrake root without gloves, so that is why we're wearing the gloves. Luckily for us, mandrake root is right here in this portion of the garden. Very easy to grab. And we just head right back in. Alright. We turn in our herbs. We have to go back to Snape's office to get potion recipes for what to use these herbs for, which we never do in the run, but presumably you would do in a casual playthrough. But then that will end the herbology segment here. Alright, here's Snape. He's actually in his office this time. He's going to give us a couple potion rewards, and then that ends herbology. Alright, next class is going to be Transfiguration. Which is going to be, luckily, here on the first floor, in the first classroom on the left. Transfiguration, very easy. Basically what McGonagall is telling us is that a purple rabbit escaped, and our task for the class is to go collect the rabbit. This is the second use of why we have to wear gloves. If we don't wear gloves when we go to pick up this purple rabbit, we actually have to fight it before we can collect it. But because we're wearing the gloves, we don't have to fight it, saving us an encounter and a fight. So, easy peasy. And luckily for us, we head just outside here, and it's just gonna be over here on the left. Here we are. And we head back in and turn it in. Easy. The next class is arguably the worst class of the run now that we have this new glitch. Before I would say potions because there would be a lot of RNG as to whether you get those snake fangs fast or not. But we can duplicate that fight now, so it's not as bad. Charms is the worst class now. What we do for Charms is we learn the Wingardium Leviosa spell, which is, classic Harry Potter. But we do so by doing a memory-based game with Flitwick that is just too long. But it's random every time, so you can't memorize the pattern. And you have to do it to progress the story, as far as we know. So, unfortunately, we'll have to sit through some memory game business here. Which is basically just using the D-pad to follow his movements. I'm gonna focus here a little bit on this. Just so I don't mess it up. You wish that was the end of it, but we have 2 more phases of this minigame. Alright, last phase finally. One more object to lift up. Alright, we did that without messing up. Good. You actually get 3 chances for every pattern. If you get 3 chances, you fail and have to restart the minigame, which obviously loses a lot of time. But like I said, it's very frustrating. That is random every time, so there's not patterns we can memorize. And just frustrating. I highly suggest if anyone is watching this and is wanting to learn this run, first of all, highly suggest you do. Great run. Very fun, very easy to get into, in my opinion. But second, I would write down every time you get to that minigame, I would write down the movements, because losing time there is ridiculous. And just write it down. It doesn't hurt. You get a lot of opportunity to write it down. It's pretty lenient. So, anyways, moving on to Defense Against the Dark Arts. What happened there is we were heading there to class like a normal person, and Peeves the Poltergeist cursed us. You're going to see Harry is blinking here. Every blink that we are incurring is 1 damage. Luckily, we're a level capped at 99 with almost 800 health, so it doesn't really affect our health too much. But we do want to get rid of this curse as fast as possible, so we go to this classroom and fight this troll-looking thing. If we get a crit here on the first or second attack, we can actually save some time, so it's a little luck-based. Nope, we're going to have to 3-shot it, but that is fine. And then afterwards, he's going to give us the curse book, which we'll use to get rid of our curse. And easy as that, our curse is gone. It also gives us a spell called Mucus Ad Nauseam, which is a poison spell. We do use it, but we're not going to use it until the last 2 fights of the game, and I'll get a little bit more into that. But basically, when you poison somebody, it damages them every turn. We're taking shortcuts here to make the movement a little bit faster. Dumbledore's here, telling us, hey, we should add that book to the bookshelves, which, you know, is probably a good idea. Thanks, Dumbledore. Alright. And that is Defense Against the Dark Arts. Luckily, just 1 more class to go, which is going to be History of Magic. And History of Magic is kind of ridiculous in nature as to what we're going to do for the class. But we're going to head down here to the classroom. Talk to Neville here. And basically, so we don't have to read the text box here, what's going to happen is that we're talking about a famous witch or wizard. I believe Cersei is the name. And they talk about how Harry saw somebody creepy in the Diagon Alley when he was shopping that had that card. And the teacher is like, wow, why don't you go back to Diagon Alley and see if you can find that creepy individual to give you that card? What a great idea, right? So here we are, back in Diagon Alley. Here's the creepy individual. And basically he says, alright, pay me 10 sickles, cool, sounds good, and go get it from my vault. Which is what we're gonna do. Luckily, we don't have to go nearly as far to get this card, so. So we're gonna go in the vault, and we're gonna have a fight that looks pretty familiar, just with some color swaps on the enemies. It is Chuck E. Cheese returned. But this fight is a lot easier and different now. We're actually going to get our first instance of our Rain of Bludgers. And here it goes. It looks pretty cool. Every enemy just gets hit with a bludger here. It's going to knock out the 2 smaller rats while the big rat is still alive, which is normal. And then we're going to use our spell to defeat it in 2 turns, basically. There we are. We used to have to fight those enemies individually, so we save, you know, a turn basically, getting to use that, and we're going to use that Rain of Bludgers combo even more coming up. Alright, we get a nice visual glitch here. Let's see if I can pull it off. I think I got it. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Harry's not supposed to be moving here, and he's going to start walking through the wall. He's supposed to just stop and talk to that guy, but here we are. So we get that nice visual glitch. Alright, and then we just talk to Professor Binns. Everyone is gone, obviously, so this all makes sense. And then that is the end of History of Magic. So finally our class schedule gets through. Draco being Draco, gonna challenge us to a duel. So obviously Harry being Harry, he's gotta be prideful to take that on. So this is gonna be our first instance of darkness in the castle. Whenever the castle is dark and we're around, you will see that enemies will pop up on the floors, on the main floors. Even when the castle is lit up, like daytime, if you go into side classrooms, as we saw before, you could still hit encounters, but nothing on the main floors. When the castle is dark, you can see encounters on the main floors itself, except for when we head down here for this segment. For whatever reason, no encounters will pop up. We're not exactly sure why, but nothing will pop up, as we have this nice little trail of Gryffindors following behind us. We're just going to head down to the 3rd floor. Another bad thing about the darkness is that majority of the times that we're in the castle, while it's dark, the shortcuts will be locked, so we can't use them. We have to just walk down normal. We enter the trophy room here. We're going to walk up and left to avoid a dialogue box there, and then we're going to walk in a very specific pattern to dodge a lengthy cutscene with Filch here. And then we're going to get some movement here. So yeah, we skipped two kind of substantial dialogues and cutscenes there. And then right now we're going to kind of kick off the what the real bulk of the story is for Philosopher's Stone. We see Fluffy here. Say hello to Fluffy. He's guarding some kind of trapdoor, and we're not really sure why. So now basically we're scared and we're going to head back to Gryffindor Tower. Now encounters will start to pop up though, and we need to go through this without hitting an encounter if at all possible, because if we hit an encounter we're going to have to defeat it. One of the glitches we have coming up, one of the key skips, is reliant on our last battle being a victory, which right now it is from History of Magic with those rats. So if we hit another encounter, we can't just run away from it. That is not a victory. So we would have to defeat it. We're getting decently lucky here so far. But you'll see me hesitate here as I watch for encounters to kind of pop up. And then I'm going to hug this top wall and we should be good. Nice and safe. Just some dialogue here. And now we have a iconic scene coming up from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It is Halloween night now. There is usually a calendar flip there, but we skipped that. Ron making Hermione cry by being rude. So we're gonna have two very crucial in terms of time save cutscenes coming up here. There's gonna be a cutscene with Snape and the troll that Quirrell's about to tell us here, walking into the bathroom on the 1st floor. We can actually skip it if we pause on a very specific area of the floor, and we could skip that whole cutscene. And then we can actually skip the entire troll fight. So I'm gonna kind of focus, and then I'll explain those a little bit more. Alright, that's the cutscene skip. And then we're gonna enter the bathroom here. To skip the troll fight, hopefully we're gonna save. And successfully done, yes. So, cutscenes in the game are triggered by as soon as you cross a threshold of some sort. So think about it as an invisible line on the ground. As soon as you cross that invisible line, the cutscene will begin. If you pause right as you're crossing that invisible line, at some points you can actually just skip right by the cutscene. So we skip by a cutscene with Snape and the troll, and actually we do the same thing here, except we have to enter our inventory for whatever reason. Oops. And we also, when we enter our inventory and we get far enough over to the right that we could still see Hermione, we actually skip the troll fight altogether. So we don't need to fight that troll. We're not going to see that troll. I'm sorry. No Wingardium Leviosa, the, you know, the what do you call it? The club that hits him in the head or whatever. No wand in the nose, nothing like that. And all of that is done just by pausing on the specific points in which the game would transition to the fight or the cutscene, basically. Now we gotta walk down to Hagrid's. Unfortunately, this next couple segments of the game has us walking down to Hagrid's quite a bit, so get used to this path. This is the first of a few. And then we're gonna make the jump from Halloween to Christmas. Just some lore there for you. Peeves strikes again. Stealing our Christmas presents. Real Scrooge? Yep, that's the one. Scrooge. We gotta go get those back. Nice little fetch quest for us. There is this little note here, and you can actually skip reading the note as you exit Gryffindor common room. However, when you return in a little bit, you'll have to read the note anyway, so it doesn't save any time. Alright, luckily I know just where Peeves hid our presents. He's kind of predictable that way. But for whatever reason, and I have qualms with this. I always get a bit miffed because Harry and Ron are basically some of the only students in the school for Christmas. And their Christmas presents get stolen. And when they go to get them back, they get punished and lose house points for getting them back. And I think that's unreasonable. Hashtag free Harry and Ron, please. But anyway, we got our presents back. We're gonna head back up to the Gryffindor Tower and enjoy opening those up with our best friend Ronald. This used to be one of the segments in which we would go to the shop in the card club and buy some chocolate frogs. So we would have enough cards to do some glitches later on in the game, but we don't need to do that anymore. Part of our time save is there. So this is a longer-ish cutscene in which they open up their presents. Harry gets some junk. He gets a flute, which will come in handy later. He gets some junk from Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia. And then the most important thing he gets is the invisibility cloak, which we'll be using quite a few times through the end of the run here. This cutscene is also a little bit long, so I'll use this opportunity as let's get those donations in with some great causes, some great donation incentives as well, I'm sure. So let's get those money in. Let's meet those incentives. Let's get rid of cancer. Alright, we have our first segment here where we are going to be using our invisibility cloak, which basically just looks like a ghost Harry. And we're going to go to the restricted section of the library. Notice how the castle is dark, so we're going to have to be dodging encounters here as much as we can. Nothing that right now that a glitch is based off of, so we're okay in that regard. But like I said, every encounter we hit just slows us down, so we don't want to be slow, we want to be fast. Yeah, see, there we go. Got a little bit sniped there. I tried to pause out of it, but that does not always work. It works sometimes, but not always. Again, all the shortcuts that I would normally take to get to these areas faster are closed, so I just have to walk the floors. But the library is going to be on this floor here. Oops. Restricted section is behind this little fence area here. We're going to pick up a spell here that's going to be useful for our end fights. the Trificus Totalis, which is a paralyzing spell. And then we're going to try to pull a book, and it's going to beep at us and get angry. So we got to go. If you get too close to the librarian as you're walking here, and you touch her, you will have to restart this whole segment again. So from the 7th floor. So if you're watching this and you're interested in learning the run, do not touch the librarian. You will have to restart all of this over again. And that goes for any teacher you might see on the floors here. If you get too close or touch them or bump into them, then you will have to restart the whole segment, regardless of where you are. Now we gotta hide out. We're gonna pop in this little hallway here. Snape and Filch being Snape and Filch and whatnot. We're a little trapped, so we're just gonna go in this classroom. Oh, look at that pretty mirror. This, of course, being the Mirror of Erised. Harry seeing his parents as the Mirror of Erised reveals your heart's desires. His desires are to see his parents. Real sad. Orphan status. Don't love that. But we get out. The way is clean for us. And we can head back to the tower, hopefully unscathed. Not too bad. Only hitting one encounter is not terrible at all. Alright, so this segment, this is when we're going to get introduced to the idea of Hagrid having a dragon egg in his house and us having to deal with that. So there's a lot of segments of us starting in this library, then having to walk to Hagrid's, doing something, then us starting in this library, having to walk to Hagrid's and doing something. So it's a little bit repetitive in nature. The dragon, of course, being Norbert. I don't know why I always feel... I always explain... Whenever I run this game, I always explain the story like people haven't read or watched Harry Potter before. But just makes me happy. It's a good story. Spoiler alert, obviously, if you have not read or watched the movie, though. You're watching the run of the game, so I would hope that you at least know what's going on story-wise. Alright, so there's the dragon egg. And I talked a lot about how there's some fights that the Reign of Bludgers is going to make a lot faster. So Norbert is going to hatch here, and obviously as a newborn baby dragon he's going to be very hungry, and Norbert loves chickens. So we're going to have to fight some chickens, and Norbert is going to need 5 chickens in order to be satisfied. So we're going to fight some chickens. Each chicken we fight is going to have 3 chickens in it. However, when you kill 3 chickens in a fight, it only is going to give you 1 as a reward, so we have to do 5 fights of 3 chickens. So we're actually going to save here because the game can crash. And then this is actually, we go right here specifically because this is where the chicken spawn is, so make it a little bit easier on ourselves. And then we're going to use our Reign of Bludgers card. Before, the tactic for each chicken fight was to paralyze them, so they all didn't get a second turn. Weirdly enough, these weak chickens are faster than us at level cap, so they do get to go first. But our strategy was to paralyze them, and then take them out one by one with the Flipendo spell. And obviously that's very time consuming. Using the Reign of Bludgers card saves us a lot of time. About between 25 and 30 seconds on this part alone. Now you're going to see me save every so often here. Because we're at the spawn point of the chickens and we're getting them so fast, the game can occasionally crash here. So you're going to just see me save a couple times here for safety. every other chicken fight or so. But so we're 2 down. We have to, like I said, we have to do this 5 times total, so it's a little bit lengthy. And unfortunately, you might be thinking, if you're keeping up, that why don't I just duplicate the first chicken fight and get a bunch of chickens? But you notice how the reward for chicken is outside of the fight, so it will not give us another chicken as a reward. So it would only give us the in-fight rewards, which are like ostrich feathers sometimes. Again, makes no sense. They're chickens. Why do they have ostrich feathers? I don't know. Alright, so this is chicken number 4. You can see the numbers in orange up there after that last one. That's actually a crit, which means nothing because we would have killed it without the crit. But if you ever see numbers pop up in orange like that, it is going to be a critical hit. That's good to know. And this will be our last chicken, thankfully. Like I said, this used to be a lot slower, so I'm very happy that we found this tech in the last week. Make it a little bit faster for us. So, we finished our chicken fights, luckily. Back to Hagrid, so Norbert can get his feet on. I don't blame him, who doesn't love some chicken nuggets? Alright, so, unfortunately that is not the end of the Norbert saga. Ron has a brother who works with dragons, so he's contacting his brother to see if we could get Norbert into his hands and off of Hagrid's. Because he cannot just keep a dragon, so... We're gonna go tell Hagrid that Ron's brother Charlie is down to come pick up the dragon. And nothing will go wrong, of course. So yeah, another classic walk down to Hagrid's here. Just trying to avoid encounters outside the castle grounds here as much as we can. Kind of see me doing like a serpentine motion here to kind of try and throw off the encounter spawns if I can. I don't really know if that works, it's just kind of a superstition thing. And we have another auto-scroller. Norbert has gotten away and is flinging fireballs at us, I think, though we're going to see Norbert on the screen here shortly, and he's not shooting the fireballs, so I don't really know where they're coming from. What makes this auto-scroller a little bit different and a lot more lenient than the Draco one that we did earlier is that, one, you'll see that there's usually only 1 or 2 fireballs on the screen, so they're a lot easier to dodge. And the second thing is that for no reason at all, Norbert gets a little speed boost, and no matter what we do, we can't catch it until after the speed boost is over. So that means that we can get hit with up to 3 fireballs before that and not lose any time. So it's not really a big deal. I got hit with one near the beginning, but that was it, so I still got the fastest possible cycle. But basically, Hagrid's down to have Charlie come pick it up, so Harry and Hermione, under the invisibility cloak, will head down to go pick up Norbert and bring him back up to the astronomy tower so they can pick up Norbert. This is going to set up another crucial glitch in the game here. This glitch is called lighting. What's going to happen is we're going to save and quit out of Hagrid's hut when we're down there with Norbert in hand. Hagrid's hut is illuminated right now, as if it were daytime, but basically because it's nighttime and he has lights on. We're gonna save and quit, then we're gonna reload and use a card combo. If we are lucky, then we are going to end up performing a glitch with that card combo that will cause us to die, which we actually want. And that will death warp us straight to the 4th floor hospital wing, the infirmary, which saves us a lot of time. And also, it makes the castle match what Hagrid's hut was doing in terms of the lighting effect. So it'll actually be illuminated as opposed to dark, which means we won't have any encounters on the main floors. So that saves us at all points there. Unfortunately, we do have to walk from the top all the way to the bottom here. And Hermione is kind of like strapped to our back. So our hitbox is doubled in length, which was already massive before. It's even bigger now. So that is unfortunate. But luckily, we got pretty lucky. Only hit one encounter. It's not too bad. And here we are in Hagrid's hut. Alright, we're going to save and quit out and reset the game. Alright, and this is about a 25% chance to work, so it's an unfortunate glitch that saves us a lot of time, but doesn't always work. Oops. I loaded the wrong load screen. 1 second. I forgot we had to use our safety save. Alright, so you're going to see us finding 3 versions of ourselves, and basically why it's a 25% chance to work is we all have the same speed. So we're hoping that our Harry has the first speed as opposed to the other 3, which we got. So now we get the Death Warp here, and we are good to go. Now, lighting, obviously we don't want to have to do lighting multiple times because, like I said, it's a 25% chance to work basically, so it's a low percentage. What we're hoping to do from this point forward is to hit no encounters, no random encounters, basically the rest of the run. It's very hard to do, and if we do hit one, we'll have to reset the glitch and do it again. So we're going to be hopeful not to do it, but for now, we're going to do another cutscene skip here. Yep, there we go. We actually skipped a Malfoy cutscene there with McGonagall. And this is a very narrow hallway, which has a lot of encounters pop up. We're hopeful not to hit one. It's basically a dice roll. And I think we are safe, so that's good. So we got through that hallway. That's a big one that I usually hit an encounter in, which will ruin the lighting glitch. The reason why we don't want to hit an encounter, because like I said, we want to defeat, we want a Death Warp there, right? So if the last encounter we have was a defeat, then we don't have to utilize the glitch anymore. As of right now, it is, because we did the lighting glitch, so our last encounter was a defeat. Therefore, we can continuously duplicate that fight to get the results that we need. If we hit an encounter and then run away from it, or fight it, or anything besides die from it, then we'll have to save and quit again in order to clear out the backlog of our encounters and hope the glitch works again. So we don't want to do that if possible, but however, we're entering a segment that is very encounter heavy. So it is very likely that I will probably hit an encounter, and that's just how it goes. Then we'll have to reset the glitch in Hagrid's hut again afterwards. The segment that we're doing is our Forbidden Forest detention. Right now, it is completely dark. It's supposed to be dark outside, it's supposed to be dark in the castle, but we're still under the effects of our lighting glitch. So the hallways are illuminated, and when we head outside here, you'll notice that it'll be a bright sunny day, despite it's supposed to be being night and us investigating the forest. So there's encounters leading up to where we're headed towards the forest here, so we're going to hopefully not hit one. You're going to see me try to dodge and be as careful as possible here. Alright, so we didn't hit one there, which is good. We have to walk through Hagrid's hut, not into it, luckily this time. Alright, and this is where our forest detention is. Sorry, as soon as we hit the forest, it goes to night, so it normalizes that. There actually is no version of the forest that has daytime, which is why it changes our palette back to the night palette. So the forest is kind of a lengthy segment. It's a long maze-like structure almost that has some narrow passages and lots of opportunities to hit encounters. So we're going to try and be as careful as we can. First, we're going to grab a safety potion that will be useful for the end of the run, a pepper up potion which helps heals our magic. But walking by it as we activate it gets us a nice little swag Harry, so enjoy that as we just glide across the ground here. And that is why we hug the top walls, because look how much it shrank our hitbox there. Crazy stuff. That's the basic strategy for surviving the forest without encounters as much as possible, is whenever there is a top wall that you can hug, you hug it. Like I said, if it looks like I'm about to hit an encounter no matter what, I'm going to try to pause out of it. Hopefully it works, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. How much we can do to avoid that. But there is quite a few little cutscenes here as well. This one is with the centaurs. Kind of throws us off our path. Yep, see? Nothing you can do about that. You just get sniped sometimes. So we'll have to reset the lighting glitch and hopefully it'll work again. The good news is that when you do hit an encounter like that, and you know you have to reset the glitch, it kind of takes the edge off, so you don't have to worry as much. All I can do is hit another encounter, and whoop-de-doo, we hit another encounter, so... But that is what is brutal about getting towards the end of this run, is one, lighting doesn't work consistently, so you might have an excellent run that is just ruined by lighting. You might try lighting like 4 or 5 times and it might not work. And then, even if you get lighting to work the first time, you could hit an encounter, so you have to activate it again and have to go through that whole rigmarole again. So it's a little bit brutal. We're working on trying to find ways to make lighting more consistent if it's based on frames and all that. We don't have anything about that yet, but we're actively looking into it. We are still going to try our hardest to not hit encounters, just because every encounter is a waste of time, like I've said, so we're doing our best. But this is the halfway point of the Forbidden Forest segment. The second half goes faster because there's no cutscenes. This is the last cutscene of the forest here. Voldemort feeding on the blood of this unicorn, as the blood of a unicorn gives you extra, like, the ability to live forever, basically. Which is why Voldemort is after the Sorcerer's Stone as well, because that provides the same effect without having a cursed life from drinking the blood of a unicorn. Again, just giving you the lore. I'm a lore fiend. And then we just head all the way back the way we came. Hugging the top walls as much as we can. Yeah, it's when you have to go vertical that there is really no safety, unfortunately. Because you can kind of like put your your shoulder into the wall, but it doesn't shrink your hitbox, and the encounter can also go like that length into the wall as well, so it doesn't really help you. Like, you can't, like, an encounter can still pop there. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't like to see spiders, because spiders are faster than us, so if we try to run, we occasionally will not be able to flee like that. Oh, jeez. Unlucky. And, of course, it was another spider, but at least we successfully were able to run away from that one. And luckily, this last screen is entirely hugging the top wall. knock on wood, I have never hit an encounter in this screen of the forest, so there you go. But I have gotten all the way through this forest with 0 encounters, only to make this walk up to Hagrid's and hit an encounter on the way, and that's absolutely heartbreaking. Alright, so we're gonna save and quit again. We do not want to use Rain of Bludgers to do this, because Rain of Bludgers actually just kills the Harrys, so it doesn't provide the intended effect. It's just a victory. When you see that, that is the implication you do not want. That means that you are outsped and one of the other Harrys got to go first, which means the game is now soft locked. Let's see if we can get lucky here. The backup to this glitch not working is that we will just have to walk back up to the castle, so it's not the end of the world, but it's still worth doing probably like 5 or 6 times before that, because it saves that much time. Alright, come on. Ugh. 1 or 2 more times and then we'll just walk of shame it. This is why the estimate is a little padded, because this glitch can just fail immeasurably for no reason. Come on. Alright, we'll try it one more time, and we'll walk of shame if it doesn't work. Walk of shame being, we'll just have to walk the path instead of being death warped to it. Come on. Alright, walk of shame it is. Yep, that's what makes the runs of this game a little bit RNG heavy at the end, unfortunately. Alright, so basically we're just gonna complete our walk up to the castle. The good thing about this is, for whatever reason, when you're coming back from detention here, despite it being dark, your shortcuts will be open, so we can actually get up a little bit faster. But unfortunately the castle is dark instead of illuminated if we had gotten the glitch to work, so encounters are still possible, which is unfortunate. Like that, I tried to dodge that one, but it still caught me in the foot because our hitbox is massive. Nice little snipe there. The turtles even are technically faster than us, and we are level capped, as a reminder, but turtles are faster than us. Alright, almost there. Now, there are 3 instances where we try to perform this lighting glitch. The third one that we're going to do in just a few minutes is actually not for... It doesn't illuminate the castle because we do it in a dark room. So we're not doing it to produce a lighting effect. We're doing it for the death warp effect, if it's at all possible. So we're gonna try to do a death warp from the Gryffindor common room down to where we need to start the end game portion, which is to run the Gauntlet of Teacher Challenges in order to get to the Sorcerer's Stone. We'll try that lighting glitch once or twice, maybe, just to see if we can get it to work again, and if not, then we will have to walk of shame that one as well. But first, we got to get back up to the Gryffindor common room to make that happen. Basically, story-wise, what's happening is we know about the Sorcerer's Stone. We know what Voldemort's trying to do with it. The teachers aren't doing enough. They think it's protected enough as it is, so they're not worried. But we think that Snape has an in with Voldemort and that he is going to make a move on it tonight. So we're taking matters into our own hands. Yeah, so once we get up to Gryffindor here, there'll be a cutscene in which Neville continues to have a very bad day. He's poisoned, his arm is broken, just rough. And he's gonna get a little bit more rough for him. Because he tries to stop us because he is very brave, but Hermione doesn't have time for his nonsense. And he paralyzes him. Alright, so we're gonna attempt to set up a death warp here as well. See if we can get it to work. Like I said, we'll try this one probably twice, and if it doesn't work, we'll walk of shame this one as well. This one is different because it doesn't death warp us to the infirmary. It death warps us to where we need to go, basically. So let's see if we can get it to work. No, we'll try it one more time, and then we'll just walk of shame it. I've had very bad luck with lighting in marathons recently. It has not wanted to participate. Try using the third card combo instead, see what happens. Nope. Alright, walk of shame it is. Alright, so normally, yeah, like I'd mentioned, what happens there is we death warp. We don't have to walk from floor 7 to floor 3. We just immediately warp to floor 3 for some reason, as opposed to the infirmary. We warp directly outside the door that has Fluffy. But because the lighting really just did not want to work, we will just walk down. It's less of a terrible walk of shame than the Hagrid's hut to the top of Gryffindor Tower is. It's not terribly, terribly long. But it warps us right here, basically. So, now begins the challenge of getting the Sorcerer's Stone. If you're not familiar with the story, basically every teacher has a challenge set up in order to protect the stone. This one obviously being herbology. So this is the Devil's Snare. What we do to the Devil's Snare, unfortunately the Bludger's glitch does not work for a Devil's Snare because it only does 1 damage to each vine, so it's not helpful. So we still have to take these out individually. So we use Petrificus to paralyze them. Unfortunately, the big one broke out on the second turn, so we have to use a second case of it. And then we just take out each branch one by one, the 2 smaller and then the 1 bigger. We can crit on the bigger one, which will save us 1 turn if it gives it to us. It didn't, so we will have to 2-shot it. So it was basically the slowest version of that fight. Forever lucky. Alright, so that's the Devil Snare though. Pretty simple. You can't hit an encounter here, so we will be careful. Now this is my least favorite challenge, which is the Charms challenge, which is there's a flying key above us that we have to grab to unlock the next door. It's a vertical, not an auto scroller actually, but it is a scroller, and it is just absolutely brutal with this RNG. There's keys everywhere, and they can just really mess you up. So that's why we kind of hug the outside wall, because some of the keys will disappear behind the wall, making it a little bit more free for you, but it's still pretty terrible. And then even you could get so close like this and still getting swatted away. But that wasn't the worst, not the best, but it wasn't the worst. Now we have our chess fights, Wizard's chess fights. We're going to be fighting 3 different pieces here. All of them are single, so we just fight them solo. Bludgers don't help here either. If we get some crits in the first turns, that can help us. So we're looking to get some crits to save some time here. First attack, obviously no. Second attack was a no as well, so this fight will have its maximum length. As we 3-shot this chess piece. So that one didn't save us any time. I'm gonna fight the castle next. Hopefully we're looking for crits here. Nothing on that one. Hey, that actually helped us. That's a 3-turn fight as well, but the crit made it a 2-turn. Finally, we get some luck. Now this king fight, I believe it's the king, is a 5-turn fight typically. So if we get any crits here, it could help us. Oh, he likes to crit on us, isn't it? Lucky us. Oh, hey, we got some help. There we go. So we could 4-turn it. Hey, a 3-turn fight. That saves a lot of time. So we actually got some pretty good chess fights there. Can't complain. 3 crits is pretty good. There's a troll in here. We're gonna grab a potion from its body for safety. Then this is our second to last challenge. We're approaching the very end of the run here, which is a potion challenge. I'm actually gonna save here, just in case. And then this is just a mini game where we have to get the right combination. That was a pretty quick solving of the game there. It's basically Mastermind. The reason why I saved there, because one, you can get kind of unlucky with that potion, and if you can fail it, so you might think, oh, that's fine. We fail it, we'll just retry it. But unfortunately, if you fail any of these challenges, as in you die in any of the fights, or whatever the case may be, you have to restart all of the challenges again. So we really don't want to do that. So we get a nice little safety save there. Now we're in the last 2 fights of the game, which are Quirrell and Voldemort. Time will be after we kill Voldemort. But we kill these 2 enemies very uniquely. So first we're going to paralyze. Then we're going to use our poison spell, Mucus Ad Nauseam. We're going to use it 3 times. Luckily, whenever we use poison while paralyzed, it does not break them out of paralyzation, necessarily. That breakout is just based on RNG, not based on damage. We're going to stack it 3 times, so it does 40 damage per turn. Unfortunately, he's broke out twice, which is very unlucky. Then we're going to use an item here to heal. And then we're going to just continuously skip his turn by pressing A on a specific frame. And that poison, every time we skip his turn, will stack. And then we're just going to let the damage kind of drain him. Unfortunately, he poisoned us too, which stacked a little damage on us. But that's the Quirrell fight. And the very last fight, which is Voldemort, we're going to do the exact same thing. Time will be, I'll call time, so just get ready on that. coming up soon. We're gonna do the same thing. Stack 3 poisons. Man, they love to break out though. Breaking out every turn is very obnoxious. Do I have another pepper up? Good. They're just giving me the slowest possible fights. Well, that's how it goes in marathons, right? This glitch is called the enemy attack skip glitch, by the way. Kind of self-explanatory. Alright, and... time. Alright. So, not too bad. We're gonna take a look here just in the post-game to see how the house points totaled up. Now, if you fail the Malfoy cutscene skip, which happens while we're taking Norbert up to the astronomy tower, this becomes random as to who can win. Even if once you get all your cheater points from Dumbledore, when he gives points to Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Neville, you could still technically lose the House Cup. But because we did successfully get that skip, it guarantees us our win. So we do see we get the true ending here. And we get a couple extra card combos, and then we get to see Hedwig flying off in the distance. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Just a couple things I wanted to shout out. Obviously, thank you for Game Over Cancer and Strizer and all of the staff with the Game Over Cancer crew for allowing me to run this game. And thank you for having me so much. Like I said, it's a very personal topic for me. So I'm very, very happy to have been able to join you folks for this. Thank you. I would like to also shout out our Discord, which is Harry Potter Handheld Speedrunning. There's 2 different Discords for handheld and console or PC. But Harry Potter Handheld Speedrunning, we're very, very welcoming community, very friendly, and very willing to help. So if you saw this run or are interested in other Harry Potter Handheld speedruns on Game Boy Advance or DS, whatever the case may be, feel free to join, ask questions. We'd be happy to help you. And just take a look at our speedrun.com page, speedrun.com/HP1GBC, to take a look at our leaderboards, ask for resources. You'll see my name up there. I'm second place grinding for that world record right now. Feel free to shout me out or ask me questions specifically as well in Discord, Conception2, or you could just do twitch.tv/Conception2 and check out a stream of mine sometime. But again, thank you guys so much, and that's been my time. Thank you very much.